Good morning, Nigeria. You're tuned to Daybreak Live right here on Dominion Television. It's Wednesday, the 17th of September, 2025. My name is Oluwayemi Adelako. Excited to set the pace for your morning.
And I'm Anulu Akpo. Together we'll walk you through the latest news, conversations, and stories shaping the nation and beyond. How has your week been so far? Thank you for choosing to start your day with us.
Definitely. Here's a look at what's ahead. First, on Daybreak G's, we examine the DSS charges filed against Sowore, Facebook and X over an alleged false claim against President Bola Tinubu, a case that's already sparking heated discussions across the country.
And after that, we'll bring you the weather report and updates, followed by Daybreak News, where we give you a crisp roundup of the major national and international headlines.
Then it's time for our newspaper review and analysis, unpacking the front page stories that and breaking down what they really mean for everyday Nigerians.
And for today's big story, is actually a big story indeed. You know, someone has to pay the price. Paying the price, the burden of non-refundable U.S. visa fees on Nigerians and the economy. We explore how this policy affects individuals, families, and the larger economy at home.
We'll be joined by public affairs analyst Ofino, who will share his perspective on the wider impact and possible solutions.
It promises to be an insightful and thought-provoking conversation this morning.
Definitely. And to wrap things up, we'll bring you Trend Watch, your guide to what's buzzing both online and on the street.
So whether you're just getting ready for the day or already on the move, please stay with us.
This is Daybreak Live on Dominion Television, your trusted companion for news and analysis.
And trust me, you can bet a pound to the penny that we are only just getting started.
I like that. Good morning.
Beautiful morning to you, Yemi. How are you this morning?
I'm very well. I'm very well. All right, this morning we have a topic before us that says DSS files charge against Sowore, Facebook, X over false claim against them. But we've been on this issue, for a few weeks now. What do you make of the story, really? And I think it's developing.
Absolutely,
with time.
yeah. So let me start from the development, like you said. The development is that Sowore has now sued a counter, suing, as it were, against the federal government, against the DSS, I mean to say. And on his premise, his premise would be that the first major premise and minor premise. The major premise is that what he claimed to be the suing of the DSS is against the fundamental rights of himself, like according to his counsel. That was what he said, that first is a breach of the freedom of speech or freedom of expression in Nigeria. And again, the other one is that he labeled it unconstitutional censorship, because currently as we speak, Sowore's account has been censored because, of course, it was served, and it was served by X. So it was served by the DSA through X. So X notified him that you have been served, and so he said, okay, so that's it. So just this morning, we got to know that Sowore has also filed another, a counter sue against the DSS. And so that's like the development from that end. But to also bring all of this into context, it's a conversation that is having two legs, standing on two legs. The first leg is that, is he a breach on his human right, fundamental human right, like we would say, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. Anybody can say whatever they want to say, especially if they feel if they feel they are being treated in a way that is not right. So you might want to, cut him some slack to say, okay, it's okay to say that you can express yourself, especially for a kind of person that is, not to forget that Sowore is an activist, and even the current president of the country, Nigeria, used to be an activist, right? We've seen from history that he also participated in so many of the activism way back in time. And so this should not be a new thing to him. But the conversation is now surrounding, is Sowore right to call the president a criminal? Because that was according to the sue against him, that he said he labeled the president a criminal because he said the president went to Brazil, went to France, and was telling people that the economy is better under his regime and that there's no corruption again in the country. And so Sowore said that is a criminal, was referring to the president. He even tagged the president P. But, to say is a criminal. So that, again, begs the question of, should you say that to the president, the first president in the nation, the first man, the first view of the nation? Because, of course, this is more a global world now. So whatever you say online will definitely go out to every other person to see. So the question is about, should you say that particular word, criminal, to the president, or should you not? So I think that Sowore is saying that, is just expressing himself anyway.
Definitely.
Whether or not you feel is controversial, whether or not you feel is too harsh to be used by him, you know, all of that is still for debate, it's up for debate. But all of these things, I'm getting to see from different angles to say the DSS is trying to curb future occurrences by trying to nib it in the bud to say, you know what, Showore, we call you. Come and answer to this thing, because there were about 5 count charges against him, according to them, that, you know, you can't say this kind of things to the president of the nation, or what are you trying to say to every other person? You want them to also continue in this light, and everybody gets to, you know, shame the president. But again, it begs the question again on the cultural, on the socio-cultural and the ethics of this nation, to say, should you call someone who is of higher position, social class, you know, or political class as it were, as the president is now, should you have the right to say such things or to go against it? Because remember, there was a time not so not far away from now when a lady, a core member, said something about the president, and there was a lot of chaos about that. They said they weren't going to give her, you know, the what's it called now, the certificate of NYSC and all of that. So many persons were asking, so why would any other person say that, and a core member would not be able to say that, you know? So that already created another debate on that side to say who should say what. If you're serving for the, if you're, like, we know that core members are known to be, they call them Omo Ijoba in Yoruba, to say that they are working for the federal government. So you don't have a right to come against the federal government to say that they are doing wrong. You can wait till you are done. So that's still a conversation. A lot of people don't believe that's okay, because you should actually say what you want to say.
Honestly, still taking it from the known to the unknown, just like you mentioned. You know, there was a time, I think August 25, when Showore tweeted about that, of course, when the president was in Brazil. And of course, I don't know, I think the way DSS handled this matter, I think that's why we are here at this point in time, because I do not understand why the DSS, you know, will write to, you know, ex-boss, that's, you know, Elon Musk, and of course Facebook, to say deactivate his account and of course delete the tweet. And these people did the right thing by also, you know, writing to Showore to say that, okay, this is what, you know, the DSS through the federal government is saying. Because I believe that if you think Showore said something wrong, take the matter to court. Just like I mentioned, about a few weeks ago, there was a tussle between Adeyanju and Peter Obi, you know, while he said something, you know, things that are not, you know, quite okay. And of course, Peter Obi took the matter to the court. And I think the matter is still in court now. Maybe they are trying to settle it or not. And of course, don't also forget that recently, Showore also said that they gave him 7-day ultimatum to delete the tweet. And Showore is saying, I'm not going to delete the tweet, even with this ultimatum. Bayo Onanuga sent Showore a private message, you know, talking to him nicely to say, Showore, this thing you have said is not right, is wrong. Delete this tweet. Showore is saying, I'm not going to delete the tweet. And that was what led to, you know, the federal government through the DSS, you know, suing Showore and also suing X and Facebook. And Showore in turn is suing all of them as well. So this is my point now. This is the right thing to do. Let both parties, you know, take the matter to court. There's one thing about the law. That's why I say, as a Nigerian, as a student, if you know that you are going to twist the law as a lawyer or as a judge, just become affidavit lawyer. Don't stress us as Nigerians, because I'm being sincere now. We've seen cases where a lot of lawyers and judges would twist the law, I mean, to their own advantage. Yes, you have the right of expression to talk about anything, but there's a limit. And that's one of the problems of the law. It's not defined. You can speak about a lot of things, but to what extent can you say some things? If you call me some names now, I can decide to sue you if I have the money. If I don't have the money, I can walk up to you and say, that thing you said, I don't like it. Yeah. So I think this is the best thing for both parties to do. The matter is in court. Let the court or let the law take its course.
So you think, from what you've said now, let me get you correctly. You think the DSS and the federal government had a wrong approach to it at first?
Like the first approach. I mean, writing to us to say deactivate his account or delete the tweet. Yeah, I say it all the time that Showore can be a little bit extra sometimes in terms of, you know, his choice of words and the likes. You see, you can talk to someone, you can criticize someone without sounding unnecessarily uncouth. I mean, if I begin to talk, if I want to address a matter or something you have done, and I begin to, you know, call you unpredictable names, you don't even want to listen to me. But I can talk to you in a very diplomatic manner. I will make you understand, okay, this thing you did is wrong. But I don't have to call you some unpredictable names. Yes. So if this man Showore is now talking this way, I mean, how can he assure Nigerians that if he gets to the post, he's going to do better?
But again, maybe just to speak for Showore, you know, one beat to say that, you know, we've had president also the United States, for example, the current president is Donald Trump. Donald Trump has been censored again and again, and he doesn't care. He says every word. There's no word you want to ask that, can the president say this? Donald Trump is going to break that.
Okay. Must we all follow?
So that's what I'm trying to say. That
see, I like what Showore does sometimes. Really, the way he fights for the police, regardless of the fact that one of his brothers had issues with the police and then it didn't end well. But I appreciate that about him, But then sometimes I think it goes overboard with some of his comment, really. And of course, I do know that he has the freedom of expression, but I just want him to, do some things the right way, the right manner.
Okay.
Honestly, that's the way I see this matter.
Absolutely.
Definitely, I also mentioned that DSS was wrong in the way they approached the matter. Why would you write to X to say the activities is his account? And of course, X and Facebook did the right thing to say these people have served you, but we are giving you that notification to say this is what they have said. So it now depends on Showore to say that I want to delete. But I don't say Showore deleting the tweet unless the courts mandate it for him. Because about 9 lawyers are going to defend Showore in court now. And I'm very sure that federal government through the DSS are also prepared to defend this case. So the game is just started. All those ones they've been doing on X is just rehearsal.
Really. I think I was thinking about it this morning that I think one of the problems we're having currently is the advancement in technology. And by that we mean the social media now. Time was, 50 years ago or 20 years ago, there was nobody that was going to come out to say something publicly about the president except you go to the press. The press, the print press, and then they have you on their Vanguard, whatever they are, they put you on the platform, and then whatever you say goes out. More likely, it's not most definitely going to reach a very larger audience. It's just going to be within Nigeria for the first part of it before they probably disseminate it some other places. But now, with the use of social media, there's a lot of movement. Mostly cloudy, and overnight it's 23 degrees Celsius, cloudy in Enugu North, Enugu, Nigeria.
It's time to cross over from Enugu definitely to Owerri, Imo State. This morning, weather feels like 27 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 10%. In the afternoon, 29 degrees Celsius, scattered thunderstorm around 56%. And in the evening, 24 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 24%. Overnight, 23 degrees Celsius, cloudy around 21%. If you're around this area, do well to prepare adequately for this.
And as you can see on your screen, Kaduna North is where we are now. Kaduna, Nigeria, of course, the weather feels like 22 degrees Celsius, cloudy in the day, and night is 21 degrees Celsius, with humidity level of about 100%, high and low wind 5 km per hour, and also the pressure is at 1,014 MB. Of course, that's something to think about this morning, especially if you're traveling this morning from Kaduna.
All right, let's kick the engine and drive down to Makurdi, Benue, Nigeria this morning. Weather feels like 24 degrees Celsius, and of course, wind is around 5 km per hour. Dew point around 23 degrees, and of course, humidity is around 98% this morning. That's what we have for Makurdi, Benue, Nigeria.
Not so far away from that now in Bida, Niger State, of course, the largest state in the country. 24 degrees Celsius, the weather feels like that this morning. The daytime would be about 32 degrees Celsius and night 23 degrees Celsius. Of course, that's what it feels like. 24 degrees Celsius today, 27 degrees Celsius, cloudy in the morning, afternoon 31 degrees. The rise is so high. Of course, partly cloudy as well, and then coming down to 27 degrees Celsius in the evening, partly cloudy with thunderstorms in the night with 24 degrees Celsius. That's what we have in Niger State, Nigeria.
Definitely crossing over to Lagos this morning. Weather feels like 25 degrees Celsius, wind around 3 km per hour. Dew point is around 24 degrees. And of course, that's what we have this morning for Lagos, Nigeria. Do well to prepare for that.
And of course, though we're still in southwest, weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius this morning. And of course, later in the morning, 25 degrees Celsius, cloudy. Afternoon, 27 degrees Celsius with scattered thunderstorms. Of course, mostly cloudy in the evening with 23 degrees Celsius. And again, 23 degrees Celsius overnight. Cloudy again in Ondo West, Ondo State.
Crossing over from Ondo this morning, let's get to Osogbo, Osun, Nigeria. Weather feels like 23 degrees Celsius, and of course, the wind is around 3 km per hour. Dew point around 23 degrees, and of course, humidity around 99%. That's what we have for Osun, Nigeria. this morning.
And let's end with what we have in your state. Our very own Oyo feels like 23 degrees Celsius this morning. Of course, morning rises to about 26 degrees Celsius, cloudy, as well as thunderstorms expected in the afternoon part of today. 28 degrees Celsius. Evening is 24 degrees Celsius, mostly cloudy, and 23 degrees Celsius, cloudy overnight in Oyo, Agbowo this morning.
All right, that's all we can take for weather reports this morning. Apologies if we did not touch your area. We do assure you that maybe tomorrow or maybe some other time we'll touch your area. But then for people that we talk about their area or their states, do we have to prepare for that? A nice time to take another short break, and when we come back, Daybreak News will come up. And of course, Anu Loapo Ido is standing by. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Casts. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live? Like never before. Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
Hello and welcome. This is Daybreak News on Dominion Television. My name is Anu Loapo Ido. We start with education, where the federal government has announced a new education policy mandating all teachers in Nigeria to obtain a license from the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, before they are allowed to teach in classrooms. As issued by the Federal Ministry of Education, the directive is aimed at raising teaching standards, improving professional development, and ensuring quality education nationwide. The federal government stressed that the reform is designed to professionalize teaching, boost accountability, and restore public confidence in Nigeria's education system. And away from that, now to the court, where the Department of State Services has filed a 5-count charge against former presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore alongside social media platforms X and Meta Incorporation over posts critical of President Bola Tinubu. The charges were brought on behalf of the DSS and the federal government by MB Abubakar, Director of Public Prosecutions at the Federal Ministry of Justice, alongside 4 other counsel to the DSS, and lodged at the Federal High Court in Abuja after Sowore allegedly refused to delete certain posts about the president. Confirming the development, Sowore published a message sent to him by X, which confirmed that the platform had received a legal request from the DSS concerning his post. And away from that now, the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, says no fewer than 123 million Nigerians have been captured in the National Identity Database with their National Identity Numbers, NIN. As disclosed by NIMC Director General and CEO, Engineer Bisoye Koka Odushote, in Abuja, 52% of Nigerians in the diaspora and 85% of inmates in correctional centers across the country have also been enrolled in the database. While dismissing claims of compromise of the NIMC database, she added that NIMC has upgraded its infrastructure nationwide and abroad, with over 200 enrollment centers and harmonization of NIN with about 125 government agencies and institutions. And now we know your state. Your state acting governor, Barrister Bayo Lawal, has expressed satisfaction with the quality specification and pace of work on the Samuel Ladoke Akintola International Airport and the Senator Rashid Ladoja Circular Road project. Barrister Lawal also observed that the runway for the SLA International Airport has almost reached completion with necessary marking and fixtures, noting that with installation of lighting and other technical instruments to accommodate jumbo-sized aircraft, the international airport should be ready for public use within 1 month. The acting governor equally acknowledged that works have reached an advanced stage for the 32-kilometer Senator Rashid Ladoja Circular Road project, adding that before December 2025, the contractors would deliver on project for the benefit of the people. Still in Oyo State, the Oyo State House of Assembly has resumed plenary after a 6-week recess, with members highlighting executive achievements, infrastructure, governance, reforms, and local government development. During the session, the Speaker of the House of Assembly, Right Honorable Adebo Ogundoyin, dismissed claims by the All Progressives Congress APC that Honorable Ibrahim Shitu, representing Saki West, was being victimized over his position and opposition to the recently approved 300 billion naira loan. He maintained that the approval process was transparent and necessary for the state's socio-economic growth. The Assembly further passed a vote of confidence in Governor Seyi Makinde for the rollout of strategic road projects across the state, reaffirming its commitment to fairness and unbiased legislative oversight. Away from Oyo State, the Anambra State government has awarded various contracts worth a sum of about 43 billion naira for road, power, and school other key infrastructure projects. According to a press statement, the State Commissioner for Information, Law Mifo, said the projects were approved during the State Executive Council meeting held at Oka, stating that the state government would not be executing a new project because of the forthcoming election. It reaffirmed the state government's pledge not to owe state contractors, which he said has also been prevailing and a prevailing principle ever since Professor Chukwuma Soludo took office. In business, Nigeria Customs Service has launched overtime e-clearance system, an automated platform aimed at improving cargo management and reducing port congestion at Apapa Port. The Comptroller General of Customs, Adewale Adeniyi, officially introduced the system during the sensitization exercise in Lagos, where he said the platform will enable consignees to submit and track applications remotely and limit manual interference. NTO's boss warned against attempts to abuse the process, adding that deliberate abandonment of cargo to evade duties would attract tougher sanctions, with intelligence units monitoring misuse. And in sports, Oyo State government has announced no gate fee for Falconet match against Rwanda under 20 team slated for Saturday, September 27th at the Lake Salami Stadium. The State Commissioner for Youth and Sports, Wasilat Adegoke, disclosed this while briefing newsmen on the preparations towards the FIFA World Cup qualifier match, claiming that about 20,000 Falconet fans are expected at the stadium. She therefore called on the people of the state to come out in their numbers to fill the stadium to capacity and cheer Falconet to victory. You can visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng to watch us live and interact with us. You can also follow us across our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast and next at Dominion Cast. And that's Daybreak News. I am again Anoluakpo Idobu. Thank you for watching. Daybreak Live continues shortly.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Hopes are mixed, of course, many questions and every conversation around River State. You don't want to know why that is? Because there's something happening, of course, tomorrow in River State. Mixed feelings from different angles. Emergency ends tomorrow in River State. Emergency rule like we know to be. Of course, that's exactly what one of the things we're going to have conversations on today. Welcome to this particular edition, newspaper headlines and analysis on Dominion Television. Of course, we'll get started with the papers. The papers are calling for attention. Vanguard newspaper is here with me, the Punch newspaper, and many other newspapers I can lay my hands on today. And good enough, I won't be doing this alone. I have in the house with me Ishola, Temitope, who is a public affairs analyst, who's going to help us dissect some of the stories, of course, unpack some of the big bundles of packs that we have in the news and, of course, developing across the nation, Nigeria. We'll get right into that. Good morning to you this morning.
Good morning.
Temitope, it's good to have you on board today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's get straight into what we have today. Of course, the big story, like one of the stories that is breaking and making the rounds across the country right now is that, this was one of the reasons why they said the president had to, come ahead of time because he came from France. He said he was supposed to have 10 working days, in France, and then he could not have all of that to stay because he needed to come attend to something important. Was that urgent and important situation? Is that of Rivers State returning back to democratic rule? Or maybe should we say, doing away with the emergency rule? Of course, retired Ibas is going to hand over power, and it's already settling to do that now. So a lot of people are still asking questions. There are a lot of questions begging for answers. On the Vanguard newspaper this one, if you check this one, it says Rivers hopes mixed views as emergency rule ends tomorrow. That is one thing everybody is setting the eye on. We are expecting what will become of this. But of course, let's get into the conversation straight up. Temitope this morning. It seems to be that there's this popular saying that, after the storm comes the calm. It seems this is the way to go for River State. Or what do you make of this?
Yep, I think so.
But some have also alleged that, the president did not do this correctly because they felt it was unconstitutional. Many parties, like Labour Party, like other, opposing parties were saying that this wasn't the right way to have done this initially because they felt like the president was supporting the Minister of FCT, that's Nyesom Wike, to say you're backing him against Fubara, and you're trying to do as if you're just, middlemanning, but you are still showing that you are on the side of one of your people working for you as we speak. So it seems like that is also on the table of discourse. Should we bring that to the fore today? So what do you make of that? Do you think that is a lie or a false claim by opposition parties claiming that Tinubu did not approach this well when it first started?
I think the constitution is very clear in regards like this. So it's very possible and easy for different divides to take certain positions that is in their favor. So, but to properly look into this is to take away the veil and say, okay, what does the constitution say, or what's the right way to go about this? Then we now juxtapose it whether the government went well. Ideally, by the constitution, there are certain requirements that indicates when an emergency rule can be initiated, which is basically when the legitimate office holder, which is the executive governor, probably loses control of the state, and there is anarchy, there's violence, and he can't control and the likes. Then the federal government come in, more or less like saying you federalize the state, where the federal government come in, makes things calm, then go back and leave the constituted authority to continue power. So the government under Tinubu had that concern and that constraint basically. So what eventually happened, as far as I was concerned, was that they manufactured a form of violence, which was basically a bomb blast that happened in a very insignificant place in the state, and within less than 12 hours, an emergency rule was announced.
So I want to get you correctly, because this your point exactly is what many people have said, to say that's why we don't feel the president is doing right by his decision. If you consider at that very point in time, it wasn't just Rivers State that had crisis. There were crises in Benue at the time. There were crises in the northern region, especially the northeast at the time. So people were saying that if you could do emergency rule in Rivers State, why not do it for other places?
So that, like I said, the federal government under this president has shown himself to be someone that takes sides with his people. It's for just those that are closer to his camp. And it's very easy, unless we just want to mince words. Wike gave President Tinubu votes of Rivers. Not Rivers State voted for the president. Wike gave him the vote. And yes, they may say, oh, the figures that were pronounced, yeah, those were the ones announced. But we've also seen in their demeanor and their conversations in the polity that they allude to it, that yes, we're surprised that we even won the state, and we give credit to you for helping us to get this done. So I think at the end of the day, when the issues between Fubara and Wike became very broadened, they decided to stick and take their camp with Wike because of what he has done for them and paying them back. Because like we've rightly indicated, the crisis in Rivers State, as at the time of the declaration of emergency rule, was not warranted. Because, for instance, even the bomb blast whatsoever that came up, I don't think it even claimed up to 10 lives or even a life, as far as I'm concerned. Not that one life is lesser than the other, but at the scale that warranted an emergency rule declaration, we should go into the northern sector areas where Boko Haram has claimed lives of over 1,000. Right now in Nigeria today, we are we're on the top list, if not the top one, at least within the top 3, 4, 5 country in the world where people are dying at the magnitude that they're dying. Over 10,000 lives have been lost alone this year, and largely in those areas. But the government has never come out to declare an emergency rule. So it's very clear, and like I would say, just so that I don't overflog the issue, Fubara at that point was ready to do away with Wike, and the federal government just came in to save their man, Wike.
All right,
so
let's put it into context, right, before we just go over another story. You know, like you also mentioned, I think I wanted to say that another thing that might arise is to say, what is the way forward? Some have said that just after coming back, you know, for Fubara, when he comes back, he's not going to do so much again because now he has bowed to the powers he once fought. You know, so more like they're saying that he's not going to go ahead to say, I want to do this. He's not going to dictate a lot. He's just going to do whatever he wants to do and get off for another person to come in. Do you think he has another chance to vie for the position of the governor of the state?
I think he's done. He's done.
He's done.
He's just coming back to fulfill all righteousness and complete his 4 years.
And then move on.
And move on. And although politics, you never can say never. For instance, in Lagos State, Ambode has declared that he wants to run for governor, or there are rumors that he's going to contest for governor. So for him to rear his head back after the manner at which he has gone, it means there are certain conversations underneath that is encouraging him to do so. So we never can tell. He might be useful in the years to come if they realize they need to do some calculation and his candidacy favors the analysis they are doing. It might be brought back in.
Let's spread our wings a bit to another story. Of course, Showere's story is a big story. Everybody's talking about Showere for one reason or the other. The federal government, DSS being involved, Meta, Facebook, all of them being involved in a particular suit. And then Showere came out to say he's counter-suing them in a sense, to say, suing you on, you know, on the premise of, one, what you're doing is an abuse to my fundamental human right. First, he claimed that the freedom of expression, the freedom of speech, and then he said that the unconstitutional censorship over his account, again, is another conversation. And then he's saying he's fighting for an average Nigerian, that we don't want a government that will silence Nigeria just because they are saying the truth and all of that. But I want to know what you make of this. The federal government filed a 5-count charge against him, saying that you do not have a right to call the president a criminal. Like he said, according to his, and he said he's not going back on his word. They asked him to delete the post. He said he's not going back on his word. He's a man of his word. He's a man of his word. He's a man of integrity. Whatever he says stands. So this seems to be the case. Of course, just like we know now, the matter is going to be settled in court. But what do you think would be the result of all of these issues, Showere, federal government, DSS, and Meta?
I'm sorry to say, practically every one of them are jokers, and it's just sad that that's the way Nigeria is, basically. For me, when I see issues around that area, I feel it's largely a distraction, honestly. That is just kept up in the polity just to keep conversations going and take our attention away from more serious things. So why am I saying this? I'm not going to dispute the fact that this government has really done so much in clamping down on people's rights, their ability to express themselves freely. The government is very guilty on that front. The DSS, their eye handling of issues are questionable. We've not seen them being professional with the way they conduct their business. It's very questionable. The court itself, also very questionable. So that's why I use the word jokers, in the sense that you never can tell what will come out of this. So it's just like a theatric display as far as I'm concerned, because based on the way Nigeria works at the moment, you can already tell that the court is going to side with the federal government. It's very clear. No matter the press conference, the theatric, and like, we already know where the courts,
position of the court.
of the courts. They basically position themselves as the judicial arm of the government, and just to do the bidding of the government. Anytime they come, we want you this, and they just give them approval.
So you think Sowore will go scot-free?
Sowore will still go scot-free because it's their guy. So it's their guy, basically. If you've studied Showore's antecedents, his growth in the political terrain, you would know that he's a very useful tool in the hands of the government. Yes, he might come out publicly and project himself as the messiah, the man fighting for the people. Yes, but, and also, so that we don't get lost on this, he has legitimate claims to make. Because as a human being, regardless of whether I consider you good or bad, every single human is entitled to their fundamental rights being protected at all costs. The only place where I draw the line is where these obvious fundamental rights, obvious expressions are now being manipulated to enhance the image of one person to the other. So DSS, for instance, are very wrong in censoring anybody's tweets. Yes, you can call the president whatever name. Look at the United States, for instance. You know how many names that Donald Trump has been called over and over and over. He hasn't taken anyone to court. That's your expression. So you can tell someone a person is an idiot. You move on. It doesn't have anything to do with me. It's your own expression that you have made. I say I'm not a criminal. Let me put it that way. So we've both expressed our views. Oh, you are this, I'm not this, I'm not. It's very simple. So, and it shouldn't be the DSS that should even be going after Sowore to say. What do you
think should go after?
It's Tinubu himself.
The president.
The president himself.
There are many urgent matters to attend to.
Then, thank you for that response. So he already cares. He already made it clear that the calling of the president a criminal, it doesn't concern the president himself. That this is a very insignificant issue. Of all the things that I'm bothered with in moving the country forward, you calling me a criminal is the least.
Now, let's have a penny for your thoughts on a particular issue that is also making the rounds. Of course, experts disagree as presidency says inflation has dropped to single digit. What do you make of this? Does this apply to an average Nigerian, everyday Nigerian on the street? Because, of course, if you watch, you know, when the president was in France, he made so many comments, which was one of the ones that Sowore was alluding to say, was alluding to, I meant to say, that how would you say that, you know, the economy is better now with you, with your regime, and then how would you, again, make claims to say that corruption has dropped significantly and all of that? So he's trying, one of the things he said, okay, that's why I'm calling you what I called you. But again, now, presidency says that, you know, inflation has dropped to single digits. What do you make of this, especially as an average Nigerian? Speak for to the Nigerians and for the Nigerians.
My problem with government, like I would always state every time I have the opportunity to do so, is that government likes to elevate statistics over reality. I know that some statistics should give us an inkling or a see-through into reality, basically. But I've realized that when it comes to statistics, it can easily be manipulated on paper.
How do you mean?
So, okay, under the same government, in just a couple of months back, we had information how they were falsifying certain data figures that pertains to growth indexes in the country, just so that it will favor the government.
So do you think the federal government is
They are not, it's not beyond them. So they've done it before.
It's not impossible.
It's not impossible. They've done it before under the same administration, where for the first time, the National Bureau of Statistics needed to be vetted. Their data needed to be vetted by the DSS and the likes before it is published, just so that they don't want the president to look bad, they don't want the government to look bad. So it's not beyond them. So, but now, on the same issue, the question is also, and it highlights the distance or the gap between the governed and the government. If you are truly in the space, you have your foot on ground and you feel the pulse of the country, you definitely know that whatever announcement has been made on inflation and the likes is very different, because an average man going out on the streets for now can not still afford 3 basic meals a day. The cost of products is on the rise as well. House rent also is on the rise. Foodstuffs on the rise. Students going to school, their parents can't afford to even pay their loans and the like, school fees are increased. So basically we are worse off than where we were in 2023, which is interesting because 2023 also as at that time, were worse off than where we were in 2015. So we've not even escaped, like we've not even taken a step back towards 2015 eras, which some of us still feel was not still good, compared to a scenario whereby the subsidy was removed and was not replaced. And we've seen blatantly how the ruling class are embezzling resources. We see the president going on jamboree trips many a times, because his last trip, I find it's very ridiculous because there are people still dying, there are issues still in the country.
But of course, according to the claims of the federal government, they're trying to get bilateral relations strengthened, right? Which was one of the reasons they said he's going to meet Macron in France.
He has always been going to meet Macron, even before Macron became president, afterwards.
So you think this is not the right move for the president to be traveling?
What are the policies that have been announced as a result of that trip? Who went with him on that movement or on that trip? And why, whenever I say things like this, I always try to juxtapose it and compare with actual things that I've seen worked in other societies. Look at Donald Trump, for instance. I know everyone can say it's because the United States president, but I believe there are certain attitudes and demeanor that you see work, and you can tell that it doesn't matter about which position, which country you are, just applying that basically is a clear indicator of truly working. Donald Trump, for instance, going out, you see him go with either the businessmen in the country. The last time he did such movement, you see him go with the tech guys in the country, the manufacturers in the country. So when he's going there, doing bilateral interactions and relationship, you're also giving your individuals, your countrymen, inroads into these countries, because that's the way you'll be able to get in resources also from other places into your country. But the president went alone on this trip, to the best of my understanding, unless I'm probably wrong. But he went on this trip alone, and this is not the first time he has gone to France under this administration. The president alone has not slept in any Nigerian state since he has entered office, beyond Lagos. So, like, I need to see from my leader, let me put it that way, that you truly are involved in the affairs of my life. That's what an average Nigerian, I tell people, Nigerians don't have too much. They don't demand too much. The only reason why Nigerians are concerned about whether you're eating money up there and like, because they are feeling the brunt down there. Give an average man lights, electricity, let him be able to afford basic meal, let him go to work, and his pay his take home can take him home, for instance. The average Nigerian would not look up to you. They would continue running their lives, be comfortable. That's the problem in Nigeria, actually. Nigerians are so comfortable. You push them to the wall, rather than fight back, they break the wall and keep entering the wall. That's the Nigerian for you. So just give them the basic, simple thing of life. They will not bother you.
All right.
And this government has failed to do that. So if you take the mic and go to the street today, you'll definitely see that a lot of people are complaining massively out there. And I hope the government can do better.
Okay. I just wanted to maybe add to what you were saying, or to ask you further to say, sometimes it comes across as the government is not working. But if you check, how do we now vet if the presidency or the government in general, if they are doing what they should do? We need data, right? But you were making a claim to say that sometimes there could be all of those incongruences and all of manipulations inside some of the data set that we have. Maybe just that's also an outlook from an outside person that is not in the government. But because we don't have all the pictures, we don't have all the cards, all the puzzles to put together. So whatever we say is going to be a claim from our own end. So let's just get into a bit of politics today. PDP has thrown their 2027 presidential tickets open to the fore. They want anybody that is capable to come get it. And of course, not forgetting that there's internal crisis, there's rift inside the PDP. Of course, their internal crisis is continuing, as we know. Now, what do you think is going to be the end of 2027 election? Of course, do you think PDP has a chance?
The best thing, they have a chance if they can get it right. And the very simple, obvious fact here, as far as I'm concerned, is put the presidency ticket, zone it to the south. They've done that before, unless if they've come out again to change mouths. That's the best. So the conversations or the advices they get over there that says they should throw it open is basically people that, as far as I'm concerned, do not want the best for PDP. It's high time the North also, because whether we like it or not, PDP is largely dominated or strengthened in terms of his electoral conquest over the years by his presence in the north. And that has also brought some form of arrogance over there to make them feel like at every point in time, the north has to be on the ticket or the north has to dictate play. Reality also adds and encourages that thought, though. But going into this coming election, the concerns of the South should also not be discountenanced, and I feel that's where the problem is. Many of the people that are strategists for PDP have constantly positioned their thoughts along the line as the Southern aspirations and the lies come second. And that is very wrong. And I believe until that is very, very adjusted in expression, PDP will continue to have issues. You need to unseat a Southern president that largely is not even popular even in the South, and as well not popular in the North. You don't go and bring in a Northerner when already, as Northerners, you practically chased the Jonathan out of office because of the impression that you needed to complete your tenure of Yar'Adua. So you can't now tell us that you also want to unseat a Southerner using a Northerner. So which means, more or less, you're saying that the South should just have four years. And there's no way you tell me that a Northerner is coming in now and he's going to leave after 4 years. You would have to do 8 years. So there's an issue with the spread of power across both sides. Just alone before 1999, or even up to date, out of our 60 years of existence, as at the time it was 60 years, I think the North alone had governed Nigeria for almost 38 years thereabouts. So there's still that disparity there. So if you definitely want to unseat an unpopular president like we have currently today, the easiest and the simple thing is to find someone from the South that people within the community want, and rally the backing for him from the North. So that way the North has a very simple thing to do. Oh, South, why are you people putting down against this guy? Is this person popular enough to at least fight for the votes within this?
Is it just popularity?
See, in politics today, your brilliance doesn't matter until you get into office. So how do you even get into the office first before you implement your policy? You must be likable. You must be able to have the pool of people. You must be able to bring people together. There may be while being popular and that you communicate your intelligence, you communicate your capacity while contesting. But at the point of contest, it doesn't matter. How did Tinubu enter? Did he show any form of intelligence?
Because some would argue that it's not just about popularity, it's all about power as well. By the time Tinubu was contesting, every other candidate, for some people, they felt like Tinubu is going to have a walkover. Many persons did not agree with some of the things he claimed to want to do. He was saying, some were saying that you don't say that as a leader that I want to have as my president, but they had no choice eventually to say, this is going to be the best of all of the candidates we have. Because they have also, if you want to question that again, you might want to check into the house of the internal dynamics of the APC. Do they not have top guys there too? If you want to talk about intelligence, Osinbajo is also someone to talk about.
Personally, for me,
a peak, right?
I expected that in the last election, after the Buhari article run of 2019, I was hoping that was the last time we were going to see a 70+ man contesting. That 2023 was going to be Osinbajo and Obi. That election would have really brought many Nigerians involved more than we were in the last election, because there would have been this exchange of political thoughts and ideology, which was what Obi came with. And when the other side saw that they couldn't compete on that level, they just tried to scatter that conversation and made it more of a personal person. And that's also the beauty of politics. Your personality shows during the campaign. And I will keep always alluding to the US often, where we have the presidential election, the Republicans. You see different characters coming. You see different persons. Basically, your personality just shows. And I feel that's what happened in the last election. Tinubu was just himself during the election. The other candidates were just portraying who they were basically in the election. And the Nigerian populace were left to make a choice. I believe going into the next election now, there's nothing like I am making promises, especially for the president, because currently we already know what he can do so far. So it's going to be an interesting thing to see. But like I would say, if PDP is really serious about unseating, because they are still the only party right now that I believe is well equipped and properly situated to unseat this government. They just need to get it right, get in a very formidable candidate. You either bring in Peter Obi, or probably you go and take a Goodluck Jonathan. For now, those are the two individuals that the PDP can make their best bet on.
You're not picking anybody from the north?
No, they shouldn't. If they pick that, I can assure you, if PDP picks a northerner again in this next election, the president is returning. That's simple as that.
We'll probably ask you again sometime later. Though, let's get on to a roundup with one other story. Federal government unveils agri reforms, moves to create 21 million jobs. It sounds like something very interesting to an average person. 21 million jobs in the agricultural sector is going to most likely provide food for an average person. We're going to have more, food in circulation. I served in Benue State, right? And Benue State is called the food basket of the nation. Yeah, but it was very unfortunate that we could not get enough food even in Benue State, not to talk of now exporting to every other place. But, the conversation is still around that particular situation. So how do we move from here? Do you think this is a good way to go? This is a development from the federal government, especially making it more a bit technical. It's not the old way of doing agriculture or doing farms. They promise a lot of things, mechanization, improved seeds, and all of those things are also in the plan, in the pipeline. But again, you think 21 million jobs for Nigeria, do you think is a thumb up for the president, or you still want to thumb it down?
The only thumb up I have for them is for conceiving such an idea. But the real work is, what is the process to executing it? This government and government before it as well are so used to announcing and projecting without doing the work. It will interest you that at some point in time, our national plan was that we're going to have uninterrupted power supply in 2010. That was Vision 2010. And 2010 has come and gone. 2027 has come and gone. There's no electricity, there's no uninterrupted power supply in the country. We've also seen them make certain postulations and plans, and they've not executed it. So for me, I feel whoever will implement this reform is not this government. I think it's a good thing that they've put it together, because obviously one thing I can give governments is whenever they formulate policies like this, the best brains always put them together. So the question now is, they themselves, I doubt if they would be the ones to implement it, because one of the major things that will guarantee you implementing a proper agri reform is security. So no matter the technical end you want to bring into it, if your farmers can't go to if lives are not secured, if farmers are scared to go plant, because one of the major concerns or causes of food insecurity today is largely insecurity. Once that can be nipped in the bud, I think any other reforms would probably come out better. But until that is fixed, everything will just still be in the air.
It's been a wonderful conversation with Temitope Eshole, public affairs analyst today. Thank you very much for showing up again this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for your thoughts. Okay, let's have another breaking news. Of course, I'm not talking about breaking. I'm talking about the news that is going to come up on board. But that's a big story and a big news to catch up with, of course, with Yemi this morning. It's all about paying the price. You want to pay the price, the burden of non-refundable U.S. visas fees on Nigerians and the economy. How much of that can we bear? Let's take that after now when we go for a quick break, and we're back with Yemi helping us with the big story. Stay tuned and don't go nowhere.
Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Cast. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
Live from the heart of the action. Welcome to the nerve center of Next Level Broadcasting.
This is the OB van, where the studio meets the street.
Equipped with cutting-edge cameras, crystal clear audio, real-time switching, and broadcast control, we don't just capture moments, we deliver the experience live.
Anywhere, anytime, from stadiums to red carpets, breaking news to buzzing festivals, weddings, birthdays, and all sorts of ceremonies. We bring the world to your screen in real time.
It's not just a van, it's a complete mobile production house, a command center, a broadcast beast.
This is more than a broadcast. This is the OB van difference. Live, loud, limitless.
Ready to go live like never before? Book the OB van today and take your event to the world. One powerful broadcast at a time.
To book, call 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Email marketing@dominion.org.ng or visit our socials on Instagram at Dominion Broadcast.
Dominion Broadcast, your channel of choice.
They say hope costs nothing, but try applying for a U.S. visa in Nigeria and get rejected. And you will learn that sometimes hope costs hundreds of thousands of naira with zero return. The U.S. Embassy has made it unmistakably clear visa application fees are non-refundable and non-transferable, whether your application succeeds or fails. This isn't just about formal policy. It's about the frequent stories Nigerians tell of young students preparing for study abroad, business people traveling for meetings, families trying to reunite only to see their money vanish when their visa is denied. A lot of Nigerians feel this is not just unfair, but financially crippling. To put it in numbers, the standard U.S. non-immigrant visa fee is more than $185 US, 280,000 naira, depending on exchange rate, which doesn't include the cost of travel, document gathering, lost work days, interview prep, and sometimes legal or translation services. Where you had repeat attempts and deniers, the cost can spiral. There's another layer. Applicants are being asked to adjust social media privacy settings to schedule their interviews properly, barcode requirement, etc., to follow strict guidelines, all in an environment where even following the rules doesn't guarantee success. So we are not just talking policy, we are talking financial burdens, emotional anxiety, lost opportunity, and an economic toll that may reach far beyond the level of individuals. Our topic is paying the price, the burden of non-refundable U.S. visa fees on Nigerians and the economy. Today we speak with Ignatius Ofino, public affairs analyst, to break this down. Who really bears the cost and what it means for Nigeria's economy and for ordinary Nigerians? Good morning, Ignatius.
Good morning, Oluyemisi. I'm delighted to be here this morning.
Definitely.
This is the state of the art.
Oh, definitely.
Without missing word. This is an architectural masterpiece.
I like that.
I'm proud to be a Nigerian. I'm so excited this morning, what I saw in the studio.
Wow. We appreciate your great
I
comments.
celebrate the chief executive officer and the chairman of this media broadcast.
Wow. Thank you so
This
much.
is a model.
Thank you so
It's
much.
a model.
Thank you so
And I
much.
say it again, it's a model. I'm excited this morning that something like this was established in Nigeria, the giant of Africa. I'm so excited about it.
Thank
I
you
would
so
have
much.
loved if it is being replicated in the region where I come from, the Niger Delta.
Thank you so much for your beautiful comments this
Wow.
morning, Ignatius. All right, let's head straight to the topic of today. Just recently, the U.S. Mission Nigeria posted a tweet, and I read to you this morning. We hear your concerns regarding U.S. visa application fees. Like most countries, U.S. visa fees cover the cost of processing the application, regardless of the outcome, while fees are non-refundable and non-transferable. Each application is reviewed thoroughly and fairly. For best result, prepare your application carefully and use the resources on our website. Over now, I think this has been maintained, and of course, the U.S. mission is coming out to say that we still maintain that policy that we cannot refund, we cannot transfer, because we go through a lot, of course, in terms of processing your visa, and of course, even if you are denied, we cannot refund the money. What do you make of this situation, and how has it affected a lot of persons that have tried over time? Some people have tried 2 to 3 times and they're still denied. What's the effect on Nigerians who are in this situation, and of course the economy at large?
Visa is an official document
Okay.
being issued by a country for any immigrant willing to enter a particular country. Any nation in the world has its own rules and constitution. And that constitution or rules must never be violated. But it has become incessant that most applicants are usually being denied of visa application to the United States. Everyone wants to visit the United States. But there is one thing you must understand, that each country in the world has its policy. There is no morality about it. US did not force you to apply. Your application is based on choice, but you have to follow the rules. Like in our country now, advertisement is usually being made for admission.
Yes.
And there is a rule. You have to pay for what? Acceptance fee. And it is what? Non-refundable. Now, for the US now, trying to tell you that whatever fee you are going to pay, they see it more as what? A processing fee. And it is non-refundable. But there is one thing I've always been agitating for. I see it more as an act of injustice on the part of the United States government. You have to be fair. If I'm applying for visa into your country and I am being denied, I think my money should be refunded. I believe in justice.
The defense of the United States on this matter is that if the visa is yet to be processed, and of course they can still talk about trying to refund your money, but once the visa is processed, they cannot refund you. And they have said that this is in line with global policies, in the sense that it's not just the United States, that is into this, new policy.
Do you know that when people visit your country, it stimulates economic growth? Especially foreign direct. A lot of money enter into our country. Foreign currency through diaspora remittances. It stimulates economic growth. Now, when you are denying people visa into your country, the tendency is there for your country to lose what we call global recognition and reputation.
Do you think it's possible that
It is a multiracial society. We have the African American. We have the Arab American.
you are the Indians?
We have the Indians too. We have the Aborigines, the Red Indians, they are there. We have the Irish American. Like my friend, President Donald Trump, he's a German American. Country to develop your country. But there's one thing you must know about the United States. United States will never grant you visa if
In terms of the academics and the likes, have been denied, sometimes.
Sometimes it depends on the visa application and the type of visa you are applying for. Student visa is there. Work visa is also there. Visiting visa is also there. But there is one thing we have to understand in this country, that our government has failed. Nigerian government has not made a compendium for every one of us to know and see those people who are willing to travel out of the country. That Nigeria has a bilateral relationship with so country. We are having over 193 countries in the world, and it is only 2 countries. No, 195 countries in the world. It is only 2 countries that are only an observer state in the United Nations, and they are the Palestinians and the state of the Vatican City.
Okay.
They are just non-member of United Nations, but 193 nations, sovereign nations, are members of the United Nations. Now, like Nigeria now, Nigeria have embassies abroad. You can see we have a present problem now. There is problem within Nigerian foreign embassies abroad. There was a complaint in recent times.
Yes.
That Nigeria is not actually funding its embassies. So Nigeria for now must develop a compendium that this is the relationship we have with the United States. This is the relationship we have with the United Kingdom. This is the bilateral relationship we have with France, and so on and so forth. If Nigeria is having what we call 193 embassy, that shows that we must have a compendium for those countries.
Okay.
And so that when you are applying your visa, you have to, I want to travel to Norway. What is the bilateral relationship between Nigeria and the Republic of Norway, so that we don't violate the rules?
Ignatius, speaking about relationship with United States, do you think Nigeria had a better relationship under Biden compared to Donald Trump?
It's rather unfortunate. When I was on air yesterday, I was appealing to my friend President Donald Trump that the time has come for him to invite my own president, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to the White House for political talk, for economic talk, for diplomatic talk. It's necessary. Technically, under President Donald Trump, Nigeria is gradually being isolated, and my heart bleeds.
How did you arrive, in this position, honestly? What happened over time?
Over time.
Yeah.
There is one thing, when you say you are the giant of Africa, your political system should be adjudged to be a model in Africa. Your currency should be adjudged to be the strongest currency in Africa. Your economy should be adjudged to be the greatest economy in Africa. Your healthcare delivery system should be adjudged to be the best in Africa. Your educational system should be adjudged to be the best in Africa. Your defense system should be adjudged to be the best in Africa. And the likes. But let's ask ourselves, is Nigeria a good model of democracy in Africa, let alone before the rest of the world?
Speaking about issues of African countries, I don't think Nigeria is the only one in this boat. A lot of African countries are also grappling with insecurity, with poverty. Really.
Do you know what this man said? Viva Madiba, Nelson Mandela, of blessed memory. He said, nobody can respect the black race except Nigeria get it right. And I repeat again, he said, nobody can respect the black race except Nigeria get it right. Without missing words, do you know what Kalma said? He said, nothing can change except you change it.
So who is going to change it?
So it's the failure of leadership on the part of Nigeria as a country. So we have lost it. So that is why Nigerians are not being respected in the diaspora. Look at what is going on in South Africa. Xenophobic attack against Nigeria. You cannot kill an American and go scot-free.
Ignatius, apart from the political leaders that you have mentioned, that are not representing us well, what about Nigerians themselves? Because we've seen cases whereby a lot of Nigerians are caught abroad, for issues around fraud, a lot of things that are unspeakable, really. So what is the role of that in terms of how these people view us?
There are social deviants all over the world.
Okay.
But there is a way government will be able to manage the situation.
How?
There are different ways. We have the religious leader too. Religion teaches what? Morality. And there's one thing I keep saying over and over again, that God is not a politician. but he rules over the affairs of men. But nature has given you and I the willpower to choose between the good and the evil. So when you are talking about integrity or being moral, it's relative. I can choose to be a moralist, and I can also choose to be a non-conformist.
Okay.
But there are rules and regulations. When I violate any rule, there should be consequence for violating the rules.
And they don't take that lightly over there, but in Nigeria, a lot of persons find a way to escape, some of this punishment.
Punishment?
Yes.
Because of institutional failure. Now let's ask ourselves, how just is the justice system in Nigeria? We have to be honest to ourselves. So when we are talking about being a man of integrity, it's a choice. I can choose, I can decide to be a man of integrity, and I can also decide not to be a man of integrity. But there should be reward for honesty, and there should be punishment for dishonesty. So those are rules. Religion preaches what? Morality. So free moral agent. Look at our country now. There is one thing you must understand. In the Nigerian constitution, there is an oath that you have to take. The oath of allegiance. That I shall remain loyal and bear true allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria. As a patriot, you must be willing to protect the image of your country, the reputation of your country. Now, when you travel out of the country, they will never see you as a Yoruba lady. They will never see me as someone from Niger Delta. They will see me as a Nigerian. That is what we have to ask ourselves.
So you agree with me that, having a good character is not the role of the government. It depends on you as a person.
As an individual, we have free moral agents.
Okay.
We have people that don't believe that God exists. But every nation was established by law.
Okay.
Law. Nations are built by men. Nations are destroyed by men. Nations are built by laws. Nations are destroyed by laws. Nations are built by its own domestic policies. Nations are also destroyed by its own domestic policies.
Okay.
Nations are built by its own foreign policies. And nations are also destroyed by its own foreign policies.
Okay.
So when we are talking about public governance, not just within your domain alone, you have to put into consideration your foreign partners. Because no country can exist in isolation.
Okay, speaking about that, a lot of analysts have argued that with the way Trump is going, he might create a lot of enemies for themselves in terms of some of his policies. Let me relate this to this visa application policy. Some have said that why do they include the fact that when you apply or when you are called for screening, you have to make your social media platform public. So because they need to check whether you have said some things that is against the government of the United States or not. What do you make of that policy? That you have to make your social media platforms public so they can check.
There was one thing Trump said. He said, think America first. That you must love your country. You must love your country. That is the act of what? Patriotism.
Is that not infringement on the rights of people who apply? To their privacy.
That is their own country.
Okay.
Am I an American? I am a Nigerian. Not an American.
Okay.
Trump is an American. If he's trying to introduce policy that will safeguard America, there's nothing wrong about it. But there's one thing you must know.
Okay.
Who runs the affairs of the United Nations? Is it not America? America should be seen as a good model before the rest of the world. That is why sometimes when we look at the way Trump is going about it, he's trying to create more enemies than friends, and which is not even fair to the American public. So when we are talking about those who actually developed America, migrants developed the American economy. But now the Americans feel that illegal migrants post September 11, 2001, America was being attacked by terrorist organization, and there is a problem in America now. The problem of gun running is there. There are drug kingpins in America too, narcotics. No, Trump is fighting a war fighting a war against narco terrorists from Venezuela. You can see he has declared what? A president wanted. Because he poses a security checks a security threat to the peace and stability of the United States. And I keep saying it over and over again. Must I travel to America before I become great? America was not built by angels, but it was built by ordinary men and women like you and I, who believe in themselves that the time has come for them to establish a country that will continue to exist across the rest of the world, across every human generation, and that will be admired by the rest of the world.
Okay, now let's talk about some of the students that apply and have been denied over time. So some Nigerians are saying maybe this is the best time for the government to look into this and of course look for a way to provide scholarship opportunities to these students who have the brains and of course make them stay back now that the visa application is a little bit tight. Really, what do you make of that?
I believe in global rights and global freedom, educational rights. Do you understand? For them to have been denied, I think is unfair. But the time has come for our own government too to develop the educational system. I did not school abroad. I remembered my primary school was established by Awolowo in the year 1954.
Okay.
The message. I attended 3 different universities. They are all public universities in Nigeria. Am I not educated? Am I not a scholar? So the issue of trying to do, there's a big problem in this country. Don't you think I now discover that you possess a liability on them, you are going to be denied visa? But when an American have this, believe you me, they will grant you the visa. That is what they are looking for. People that can create inventions. When I came in this morning, I saw how beautiful the studio looked like. Okay. I was so excited about it. The state of the art in Nigeria and in Ibadan and Oyo State. I'm so delighted and excited about it.
Thank you so much for that comment. But let's talk about awareness now. Because a lot of Nigerians that have complained over time that they were denied visa and of course they cannot get their money back. Some people do not really check, what they are supposed to check. They don't go through the necessary, information before applying.
In the past, there used to be impersonation.
How do we educate people?
Some people are impersonating other people's visa.
Okay.
There was impersonation of people's passports. You can see the issue. We are in the area of what we call sophisticated technology. Sophisticated technology. So if somebody is coming to your house, you must know the person's mission. For your own safety.
Okay.
That is what the Americans are trying to do. America want to regulate their population. And if I thought they are going to grant you visa, you must be someone that is going to add to the growth and development of the American economy as an asset and not as a liability. That is why sometimes when you apply for visa, they will tell you that in your domiciliary account, you must have so amount of money before you be granted visa. It's there. So let us develop our country. I am appealing to Nigerians. Let us develop our country. When Trump was saying we should go back home to develop our country, he said we have the resources. Do you know that Africa is the home of man?
At Dominion Broadcast and on X at Dominion Casts. Book your space today. Dominion Television, your channel of choice.
This morning, thank you for staying with us on Daybreak Live. And of course, before we end the show today, we need to take what's trending across social media. And I'm not alone. I have with me Anoluwapo Edo joining me again.
Thank you. I like the way you call my name sometimes. Yes, of course, the trend watch today is quite interesting. This is Ember Month, like they say. It seems like the jinx is continuing to say that Ember Month comes with fire for a lot of persons. We say many houses will go ablaze and many workplaces and all of that. We've seen that before now. Is it a case that history is repeating itself in the country again, Nigeria? Because just yesterday...
I say it all the time, that history doesn't repeat itself.
Okay, so
human beings, when they fail to learn from history, repeat history.
Okay, so if history is repeated, whichever way you take it from.
Okay.
In the sense, if you do it or it does itself, whichever way.
But scholars will tell you that it is wrong to say history repeats itself when humans fail to learn from history. that's when history repeats itself.
All right, I agree. No further arguments.
Okay.
But of course, just yesterday, 9 people were rescued from Afriland Turf fire as Madalas Market suffers night inferno on Lagos Island. There were videos circulating all over the social media. We're seeing a lot of people trying to jump from places very
That's
high,
intense.
and you could just imagine the magnitude of that. I mean, what it could cost an average person. We could also talk about the rescue team not being as rapid as they should be, and many things to talk about from all of this issue. But if you check, the fire engulfed, and then there were no emergency exit in a building as high as a tower.
As
in the
magnificent
country.
as this.
Exactly. So that's like what happened in Lagos, and of course people are still talking about it. And I think I don't want to tell us what to do, but we know what to do. We should try to look for ways to. In developed times when they have this kind of buildings, there are emergency exit routes for everybody. So once there's a fire, they know the next place for you to go, and not jumping down. You need to see a big man jumping with his tie, his trousers and everything.
Because he's scared for his life.
I mean, people have to save themselves. We talk about survivor instinct coming in, setting in, but at times too, survivor instinct can get you killed, right? So the case was really an abysmal case yesterday.
Just like when we've seen cases whereby someone is trying to run away from armed robbers and in that sense gets shot, when you don't manage the situation properly. But don't forget that in a situation like this, there's a particular hormone that's responsible, even if you're not very good when it comes to running.
Adrenaline.
That hormone will help you run faster when there's a situation that on ground that would allow you run. So in a situation like this, I really do not want to blame people who try to jump from that topmost floor. But then it's not the right thing to do, because anything could have happened in that instance. And of course, speaking about the security agencies, or let me say the rescue system now, it's an issue in Nigeria. And this is not the first time that we'll see things like that. Not just the security team or the rescue team when it comes to fire. Talk about the police. We've seen cases whereby some persons are being robbed and then they'll call the police and they won't see anyone in the next 2 hours, only for them to arrive when the robbers have left. So these are the issues that we need to look at. In civilized climes, it doesn't happen that way. When you call the number, you get a response, and of course they come on time. So we need to work on it. So I have issues when people begin to compare Nigeria with US, with UK. We are not there yet. We don't have it yet. Let's not deceive ourselves.
But we can get there.
But we can get there. But then let's not deceive ourselves that we are close. We are not close, honestly. And these are the things that we must begin to look at, because this is a very bad one. Looking at people trying to jump from that, anything could have happened. Honestly, regardless of the fact that even that hormone will help you. Honestly.
Exactly. So let's get some comments straight up this morning. Of course, Emafon's 7G says, "Omo, the afternoon fire are small from the plaza where they born tonight." That's
it's a very serious thing, because I saw pictures online. It's not nice at all. Away from that comment, let's also check the one that says, coming from Tayo Fakule, saying, "Opunoka shorties, the emergency plan for this kind of building is poor and non-existent. The emergency response is so archaic." That's what we're talking about. These people, that particular sector that is responsible for getting to people when there's a fire, when there's any other thing, they need to work on them. Is it that they lack the resources to get to the place on time, or maybe they lack officials? These are the issues that we need to look at. Because I don't understand why some politicians would decide to now start trading blames online instead of looking at areas where they can benefit the people. And I think this should be looked at.
Lagos is no man's island says they won't be lucky next time. I mean, sometimes I wonder why people make this kind of comment. Why they won't be lucky next time means what exactly?
Even if I'm trying to understand the context.
If you use the might not be lucky, I mean, that's okay. But if you say they will not be lucky next time, it's more like you're wishing them bad.
And it's not a good thing, because we are all Nigerians. Absolutely. We are humans first before any other thing. And that tells you about how some persons don't really care about the other person close to them.
That was one of the conversations we were having today about Showore and then, X, Meta and all of that. So that people just say what they wanted to say because they have access to 5 megabyte data plan.
Social media is a leveler. And of course, until it is regulated, and of course, even when it is regulated, people will still complain. So what do we want as a people? That's the question. Nigerians, we are a fantastic country.
I guess a lot of Nigerians are looking for a way to express. So freedom of expression, they want to take it as better as they can. They want every bit of it. They want to speak to power. They want to speak to positions and authorities, which is okay. But there's a way to say these kind of things too, right? Like this person, for example, is saying that they will not be lucky another time.
Do you know a lot of Nigerians are even happy when they hail us to say that, when Nigerians are fighting someone, we better run though, because they know what to say at every point in time. Honestly, if we actually imbibe that that notion, or let me say that mindset or character into getting this nation better, things would have changed. But they would rather dedicate our time to do things. And of course we like that alien to say, don't come near Nigerians. Honestly,
savage response.
We can do better.
We
can do better.
We might not be fast in responding to emergency situation, but when it comes to online emergency situation,
Tweet.
you can trust fingers.
Nigerian,
Fingers
honestly.
are trustable in
Honestly.
that kind of situation.
Honestly. All right, I think that's all we can take this morning. A big thanks to you for joining us on today's edition of Daybreak Live. Thank you for being a part of the show. This is where we say RBYA. But before I go, remember that before anything, you are a human being. And of course, you can do better in terms of treating people close to you right. My name is Oluwayemi Adela. I'm saying good morning.
And my name is Adolo Akpoido. Maybe just to add to what she said too, to say that nothing is better until you compare it, and nothing is bad until you compare it. So compare Nigeria with every other nation, and then you see the flaws. But you can also compare to make Nigeria better and look at the things they are doing well in other climes and do it again in Nigeria. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Good morning to you.